Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yeah, it's okay. We're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
My dear friends, welcome back. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm going to try to adjust this thing that never works right. Let me see here. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, there I am. All right, now I can hear myself a little bit. You should have it. I want them to get a longer wire, so it's right here. Make a note of that, Jeremy, would you please? Tell Mike Corney about that, would you? All right. I'd like a longer wire. Or find some way that it can be right here, controlled, nice and easy. It should be enjoyable. It should be functioning for me. I shouldn't have to do this to kind of get into, it's like politics. It's like the government. You know what I mean? Things should be set up beautifully. You would think they would get it right. Congressmen, senators that are going along. You know what I mean? But it's a con job. The whole thing is a big con job. It's you think of it every day. I sit around waiting for people to wake up, waiting to have a national uprising I don't know, just something that has, that people say, the Peter Finch moment. We're as mad as hell and we're not going to take it any longer. That's what I need. I need that Peter Finch moment in America. You have pockets of this and pockets of that. And friends of mine tell me, no, but the Tea Party will come alive again. And, and there's no, it's splintered. It's wrong. I disagree with that philosophy. Great friend of mine said, no, individuals have got to do this. And no, individuals on themselves are a little bit nervous. It's like the woman in San Diego that saw stuff happening next door to her in the garage. And she was afraid. She was afraid to speak out. You see, that's why you need an organization like Parents United for Education. So I had this conversation with a great friend of mine, and I respect him greatly. And I told him about this. I wanted him to come aboard, and what he said was basically, no. I believe that the individual that's doing it, the individual like the Tea Party, again, it's all franchised again. Everybody has their own agenda. I've got one. Unite us across America to come up with a plan for educating our children. I have some ideas about that. I have an alternative idea about that. But it needs that. It needs a unified front. It doesn't need splintered groups of people. We need a focus. And not a focus of revolution and not a focus of violence. Okay, we need leaders who don't pander to the politically correct, feminized society. That's what we need. Pundits are out in force. They make excuses for the status quo. And they try to lean the electorate into the same old useless behavior and candidates. And they all pretend they want to do something, like Gavin Newsom now. Comes up the last second with all these great plans, all these great ideas for the homeless and for pumping more money into Keller. Anyway, this is what they do. They all pretend, but at the end, they just kick the ball down the field. because they don't have the force of will to make a tough decision that may hurt their polling numbers. You can't care about polling numbers. They're all in the tank for the establishment. It's that. You know, my dear friend, may he rest in peace, had a wonderful family, and he built a wonderful organization in Breitbart. And Andrew was a dear friend of mine. We met on the USS Ronald Reagan in 2001 and immediately had a tremendous connection. And he told me, he says, I'm going to build up my first site, Big Hollywood, because people like you need to feel safe when they speak out. That's what it was. That's what his big idea. And then it became all the bigs until today. It's one of the top blogs, and people have multiplied taking that platform, as they do, out of greed, out of selfishness, out of whatever it is, out of their own growth. It's okay. That's how life is. But we had discussions as he was formulating his dream. And he knew of my political ideas and urged me to write for Big Hollywood. That was his first site. And, you know, we shared many of the same values and confusion about how the country was growing. And identified with a lack of vision and leadership from professional politicians. Okay? Professional politicians. And how nothing seems to get done. You know, they're working on this huge infrastructure bill. And even immigration. So in 2010, I met with McConnell and I said I have a plan for immigration, and it fell on deaf ears. And it was a fair plan. And I met with several of them. I won't mention all the names. Take the issue head on. This is in 2010. And I was met with blank stares and excuses. It's like I was speaking a language no one understood. I thought for a moment, you know, that there was conspiracy. They were unwilling to really look at the issue. And this led me to believe that the political class, you understand, the political class, it's worse than the coronavirus. The political class is seditious. They're crippling in their thinking. It sucks off the tit of government as much as anyone and protects their ability to milk the cow. And then we have year after year of the erosion of American values. We get a few nice ideas and comfort food, and yet they all go back in the rooms, share a cigar, cocktails, and the taxpayers' money. That's what they do. Over and over again. And when something boils up to the top, when something foments for a second, then they start running around it like Gavin Newsom has done now. I mean, and the people accept it over and over and over again. And then we have extremists like AOC and Rashid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Schumer and Schiff and Pelosi. Corpses, young and old, that are Marxists. The left is a Marxist organization in America. I hate to say it. They cloak arguments in what is unconstitutional and what is not. And they're mostly lawyers, and they can equivocate us into confusion and oblivion. This is what they do. I see this happening daily. Don't you, the American people? They misinterpret history and the Constitution and ply it into whatever shape they wish. They reference a law that was made for, and then cloud the issues by using it for the most egregious examples. It's just incredible to me. How can you continue to do that? How? My dear fellow Americans, how can you continue to let it happen? And it's happening at such a major, fast pace. critical race theory, everything else, all the attack. The country's raped and pillaged from within. You know, I'm sensitive and understanding as anyone. But we're in the battle for the soul and survival of America. And I've been saying it for decades. On Breitbart, you can look it up. Look it up. So you know I'm not new to the game. I mean, I respect Mark Levin. God bless him. God bless his voice. But he was a never Trumper. He said I would never vote for Trump. Never. He was for Cruz or Rubio or someone else, but never Trump. He swore. But I think what he's doing now is good work. He came late to the game in terms of what Trump represented. And I said it on Neil Cavuto's show that Trump was speaking to the forgotten man and woman. You know, they're talking about the Olympic Games, right? I don't have an excitement for the Olympics that I used to have. I used to watch it. I don't have excitement for any of the sports that I used to have. It's been strangled. You see, they're making all kinds of excuses. Coronavirus, this, that, the other thing. There's one excuse, my dear fellow Americans. There's one reason why people are not watching sports, nor going to the films, nor the Olympics. And I'll tell you that when we get back. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. Did you know withdrawing your cash from the bank can be very risky? That's right. So please listen up. Are you aware that banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any behavior they think is suspicious? It's true. I was shocked as I read Swiss America's blockbuster report, The Secret War on Cash. This new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. Listen to me. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Now get your free copy by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. Or visit SwissAmerica.com. This war on cash is growing daily and also includes all forms of digital money. So please, get ahead, read The Secret War on Cash free to every Robert Davi fan today by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. And then you'll thank me later.
Deb's constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating kept giving her grief. She talked to her doctor to get some relief. Turns out Deb had irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, which was a start. Saying yes to Linzess helped her do her part.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Robert Davi.
You know, I'm the one delivering the message, not receiving it.
So, before I get into the Olympics, do you think there's a problem with immigration in America? Do you think the system is working correctly? Since the 1960s, let me give you some point of reference. The immigration system, it's been set up to eventually change the idea of America. That's right. Make no mistake about it. That's why it was set up. To change the demographic of America. And that's been a plotted effort from the left. It's absolutely, because at the same time, you see, they had a multi-pronged attack in terms of education, immigration, indoctrination, propaganda, media, Hollywood. It's a frontal attack, all Marxists, every single one of them. And it was taken from Marx's, from the 1850s, his treaty. You see, I talked about agitprop before, and Erwin Piscator, and how Hollywood. See, unless you have a reference point to some of my earlier shows where I lay out things that other people have not laid out, in terms of Erwin Piscator, who came to America, in terms of American artists adapting all the creative arts of the Soviet Union, also their political ideology, and the Bolshevik Revolution, which was an explosion. And all the intelligentsia. You know, sometimes knowledge, I know people that are so smart they can't screw in a light bulb. They have theories up the yank that lead to confusion. You can read a paragraph 40 times and try to figure out what they're trying to say. And yet it's for your good. The Olympics. When I was a kid, I remember the Olympics. Even 10 years ago. 15 years ago. America. We wanted Americans in the Olympics. We were proud. We were proud of our country. We were proud to see them run or throw discus or swim or do anything for our nation. And we watched and we sat breathless with ice skaters, with every art form of the Olympics. We sat there with them, running with them, jumping with them, because they represented us. They represented America. And today they don't. Today the athletes that are throwing hoops like LeBron James, they represent something else. The athletes that turn their back on the 98-year-old World War II veteran playing the harmonica, not even having the sense of respect to give him that, his last time. In New York City, over the weekend, there was another brutal beat-up by a black man against a 65-year-old or 60-year-old white guy in Brooklyn. Brutal attack. I don't know all the details, but if you see the video, it's astounding. If you see the video, it's repulsive. It angers you. Now, I bet you most of you didn't see it, or if you did see it, you've been watching only one or two stations that it played it, but not all of them. Don Lemon didn't have it on his show. Chris Cuomo didn't have it on his show, from what I understand. Rachel Maddow didn't have it on her show, nor Joe Scarborough. But this is where we have to understand. And it's happening across this nation. They are fomenting more racism, and they're letting people out of jail. The lax of the respect for police, defund the police by the left. How do you sit there and accept it? How do you accept it You cannot accept it any longer. Nancy Pelosi's hair should be on fire because her phone doesn't stop on the hook. And Schumer, every Jew in America should be calling Schumer and saying, what's wrong with you? Every Italian should be calling Pelosi saying, what's wrong with you? Every Indian should be telling Kamala Harris, what's wrong with you? And we let it go down. We let it happen. And people say, why aren't they turning into the Olympics? Well, yeah, there's coronavirus. There's all the restrictions. There's the dispirited aspect of this whole thing. People are dispirited. They've dispirited Americans. That's their point. To beat you down, to dispirit you. What's the sense of giving it up? You've got your 9-to-5 job. You've got to make money for your family. You've got to survive. Meanwhile, the nation is choking to death. Worse than what happened to Floyd. What happened to George Floyd is a tragedy. But what's happening to America being choked by the Marxists is even worse. The gasping for breath that America is going through right now is frightening, my dear friends. And I see it. I feel it. Someone on the radio show the other day called me the prophet in some way. See, you know me as an actor, as a singer, as an entertainer, as a Bond villain, as an FBI guy, whatever it is. But you don't know that I can see, that I can feel, that I can interpret events. And I want to communicate them to you, the people. To at least educate, inform, inspire. We can no longer let this go down. The media industrial complex. You know, Eisenhower gave a speech about the military industrial complex. I believe it's the media industrial complex that's been hijacked by whoever. And we know that the New York Times, great publication, they backed every dictator around, from Stalin to Hitler to Castro. Praised them. See, they're in it. And the head of the Times at one time was a communist, as the Winona Project says. We see a political motivation behind nearly unrestrained flood of illegal immigrants across our borders that's happening right now. They're granted amnesty, perhaps. And it was Kennedy and Johnson who laid the foundation for the immigration crisis with this Immigration Reform Act of 1965. Johnson and Kennedy saw a potential voting bloc, and they went after it. By flooding our borders, this is what's happening to America. Don't pretend it's not. And we needed a strong leader to bring this message to the American people and popular culture. And that was Trump. And they assassinated him. They assassinated him. He wasn't the most perfect human being, but he spoke to many people. Back in a moment. This is Robert Davi. Allow me to introduce you to the most trusted name in precious metals, Swiss America. Since 1982, they've been helping Americans protect their wealth from dangerous government spending and runaway debt. Now, it's no secret gold and silver prices have rocketed over the last decade. With all of the rising uncertainty, experts say precious metal prices are headed much higher in the months and years ahead. Now, to help protect my fans, Swiss America has a very special offer. Swiss Walking Liberty half-dollars at the amazingly low price of $12.50 each delivered. That's right, $12.50. So call now, reserve your silver coins at 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. Silver Walking Liberty half-dollars from Swiss America for just $12.50 each delivered while supplies last. Again, 866-219-3750. 866-219-3750. Do it today.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1,800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic, market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our peach Bellini martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
All right, is that a Q2 or a Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA. To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Robert Davi Show.
I'm Dwayne Robinson, LAPD. I'm in charge here.
Not anymore. So, what do we have? Oh, I was talking about immigration. I want to ask you, who do you think fueling the flames of racism in America? You know, the Ku Klux Klan did that 100 years ago. Right? Fueling the flames of racism. Who's doing it today? Well, you know, it started with Barack Obama, Eric Holder, Bill de Blasio, and before that. And I hate saying this, but that whole Ferguson incident is when it really started, when it exploded. You see, they're letting it happen because they're considered the establishment, and they're in broad daylight perpetrating a racist agenda. And instead of wearing a white sheet to protect their identity, they're shrouded in the cloak of government. That's what it is. So the cloak of government protects them from being called an outsider. Remember, never proud of America, remember the response to Ferguson? There was no unifying. A black-white president could have unified this nation. He didn't want to. They're adept and skillful at delivering a populist message of redistribution of wealth, of how minorities are oh, darn, my light just went out. Okay. My little light went out. No, it's not that. Okay. I think it just went to sleep. Something happened, strangely. Sorry on my little rant here. The light is back. You know, so they have a redistribution of wealth. Sorry for my articulation. I had a tooth extracted, and it's very difficult for me to talk. And I'm trying my best. And how minorities are targeted by police. Now, did you know that the biggest lynchings, the biggest day of lynchings in America happened to the Italians in New Orleans in 1891? Now, when I bring this up, people get angry at me. How dare you? Well, you know, it's my people. It's my reference point. What I'm saying is I understand. The Italian community understood. We were considered brown. We were considered others. 9 Italians being found not guilty in the murder of a police chief. A mob dragged those 9 Italians and 2 others from jail that they were being held, and they lynched them. They lynched them. 1891, not too far in the distance. On March 16th, 1891, the New York Times editorial referred to the victims of the lynchings as sneaking and cowardly Sicilians, the descendants of bandits and assassins. A guy named John Parker, who helped organize the lynch mob, said later, and became governor of Louisiana, said Italians, they were just a little worse than the Negro, being, if anything, filthier in their habits, lawless and treacherous. It was said about my people. My people coming from a boat, wanting a better land. And then add that to that, the Italians are Catholics. That was another thing that added hostility toward them. Yeah, Catholics were treated poorly and feared for many years. And then the existence of the mafia had Italians mistreated, held in suspicion by law enforcement. Even myself. See, but Italians understood that where there is smoke, there's fire. And things were happening in the community. So instead of becoming victimized and whining about ill treatment at the hands of law enforcement, they did what was necessary to provide honest, legitimate help to their people. Do you understand? They weren't about suppressing the spirit. It was about empowering it. But today's politicians suppress the people. They victimize the people. So they feel helpless. They feel justified in knocking the crap out of some white guy in Brooklyn till he's unconscious on the ground. And it happens daily. Or shooting a police officer. They're encouraged by that, by Maxine Waters, who you keep voting in, Hollywood. Today's black communities are having a terrible, tragic disservice being done to them by their own leadership. Obama was president of the United States. The black vote alone would not have elected him twice. No Italian has ever held that office. There's pandering to the black communities by certain progressives. They foster deliberate victimization so that a dangerous political agenda can be furthered. And instead of seeing through this, we have the silent, deadly complacency of the media and Hollywood. And not so complacent, because what they are is now pushing that agenda. Where are the heroic black figures speaking up against what's happening? Well, there are many. Only they're not pushed forward. Guys like Charles Barkley, George Foreman, Shelby Steele, Bob Woodson. There are many. Bruce Lavelle, Pastor Darrell Scott, Elvita King. See, instead of President Obama leading the nation in healing as a response to the Michael Brown incident and the truth about criminal behavior in our communities, instead of Holder reassuring that our justice system was strong but imperfect, instead of others asking for calmness and prudence in the behavior of those in Ferguson and New York, instead of a mayor of a major American city showing solidarity with the police force, which has the daunting task of keeping the city safe. Instead of asking that the communities respect, work together with law enforcement, instead of that, we see the resurgence of Bill Ayers and the various terrorist organizations wanted to do in tearing down our social structure and leave it in its place chaos and seeds for a Marxist revolution during the 60s and 70s. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Make no mistake. It's tragic and part of a revolution Obama has wanted in fundamentally changing America. And we're quiet about it. Yes, Cuba is coming to America. Did you think why? Did you ever think why? When Cuba started revolt, there was nothing. Silence, chirps, went away. Because if that happened, it would empower those here. I won't go off and on and on and on and on. I've written about all of this. I think it's tragic and sad. I've written about it since 2014 and before. It pains me to see what's happening to our nation. It pains me to not being able to tell the truth. And I respect everyone. But I ask the question, why? Why did you not unify the nation? And why today, as a former president, you are not talking to the nation to calm this down? To taking those black men and women out there that are feeling victimized and feeling less than and blaming it just on the white man. Take an issue from the Italian community. And there are many black leaders that are doing that. When I come back, I'll tell you what Shelby Steele says about this is not a systemically racist society. Shelby Steele, a black Hoover Institution senior fellow. I'll tell you what George Foreman said, but we don't hear enough about it, do we? We have to educate our youth. We have to educate the populace. We have to unify. And we can't accept what's happening to our youth, them being fed this kind of pablum, this kind of poisoned dog food, because that's what they're being fed. Back in a minute.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
When you really want Italian food, you have got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Citizens, no need now to clamor for culinary gustatorial delights. Dreams do come true. Columbo's has triumphantly reopened its golden doors to feed the famished and soothe the savage beast. Bask in the delights of Columbo's succulent steaks, Neptune's superior offerings from the 7 seas, Columbo's family Italian specialties, and of course, their world-famous meatballs, and it's all so affordable. Yes, Columbo's, the ninth wonder of the world. The Southern California pantheon dedicated to unrivaled and unparalleled yum yum. Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, mangia bene.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BEACH for a 25-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BEACH for a 25-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEACH.
Robert Davi.
Another $80 million write-off.
I guess it's time to start cutting overhead.
So let me talk. Here we had President Obama for 8 years, voted in mostly by white people. God bless him, who wanted to fundamentally change America. And race relations have gotten worse since him, not Donald Trump. This was already in tow. It was already in tow. Just go back. But we have American amnesia. People forget so quickly, and the media does that. The media goes so quickly by, and they won't give you that. Why is someone who's half white, why would he want to split us apart even more? And I understand all the kumbaya and I felt it when he was elected. I felt it when I heard him speak for the first time. I said, wow, this is great. When he spoke at the convention, I think it was in 2004. I said, what a great man, what a great speech. I'm excited about the future. And then I realized he was used. I realized that there was something else, a different agenda going on. Gave us just enough. Because it shouldn't be like this today. Black leadership like that. And Michelle Obama. Why isn't she saying things? Or Oprah. All the power of Hollywood. You know, if all of a sudden somebody started saying, I know about the Me Too movement, okay? I know that on the Me Too movement, a lot of women came out against certain people. Once a movement is started, people will come out. How about the abuse? How about what I didn't get? Being an Italian, son of Italian immigrants. What if all the Italians, the 26 million or so Italian Americans, started complaining about things as vehemently as we do? We see there's no leadership there. What would happen? I mean, we can go race by race by race by race and pull this whole thing apart thread by thread. E pluribus unum, remember? Through many one. We are not a perfect nation. But I believe what Shelby Steele has said. It's not a systemically racist society. He said that the opposite is true. And talk about the Olympics. Gwen Berry's Olympic trials protest was 60 years too late, he says. And he goes, and I quote him, Shelby Steele, here's the thing that is so fascinating to me about today. Referring to the Gwen Berry incident. Here's the thing that is so fascinating to me about today. All the things that we protested back then are over with. We are as free as you can possibly be free. We have enjoyed freedom now for some 50 or so years. Do you hear that? This is a black man, Shelby Steele, educated man. And he continues on saying, our problem has been a lack of development. Our problem has been a lack of development. We haven't developed commensurate with the new freedom that we want for ourselves. So we're still behind. What frustrates me today when I see someone like Gwen Barry protesting at the Olympics is that, honey, you are 60 years too late. Protest is not going to develop Black America. Black America is going to have to develop itself. We want certainly the goodwill of other people, but it's our responsibility to develop it, he said. So to get on the winning stand and pretend that you are somehow a victim of racism and so forth is horrible. It's an abomination. It sends exactly the wrong message to society. And there is the point, is there is no racial discrimination behind it. This is not a systemically racist society. It is a systemically goodwill toward black people society. People in this country are rooting for us. They are not holding us back. They want us to do well. And that's what George Foreman's message is, the one, I think, that endures because of that. This is Shelby Steele. Do you understand, my dear fellow Americans? A lack of development. We do want to see black people succeed. I do. My black brothers and sisters. All I have is love in my heart, except when I see a guy beat the hell out of a white 65-year-old guy on Brooklyn for no reason at all except to steal him and to let criminals back on the street and to build statues to them. Let them out without bail, without any responsibility. Defund the police, the left says. Except how come? How many of these politicians have a security detail that you pay for? How many have a security detail that you pay for? Tell me. I'd like to know. I'd like the figures. Somebody should do the figures on that. All these wonderful politicians that say defund the police. Where are they living? What's their protection? George Foreman said, for 54 years, about 54 years, people have asked me not to keep saying, I love America. George Foreman, for 54 years, they've been telling him, don't say I love America. He goes, well, I do, and I'm not ashamed. Don't leave it. Love it. Happy 4th of July. This was his message on the 4th of July. And there was an incident that he had a lot of flack of in a 2012 interview. Nobody was applauded for being patriotic then. The world was protesting something. And that's when he waved the flag, remember? He said, but if I had to do it again, I'd have waved 2 flags. George Foreman, not Gwen Barry. And do you want to know why we're not watching the Olympics? Do you want to know why we don't care? Because it's in the front. It's spitting in your face. Black, white, Latino, Asian, spitting in your face. Turning the black on a country that can give you so much. But it's your own development you have to worry about. Why doesn't LeBron James give that message to the black community? Why isn't that shouted out? You know, Barry said this, let's be clear, I do respect the Constitution. She told who? Don Lemoni. Because obviously I was exercising my constitutional right, but I will not stand for any type of symbol or song that does not stand for all the people in America. You see, this is another Marxist left destruction. It's tearing down the symbols of unity. How does that not, when there were over 700,000 men and women killed fighting for slavery, how does that flag not stand for unity and for all of us? When we defeated Nazi Germany, what would have happened? And why I turned my back on Gwen Berry. I turned my back on LeBron James. The NFL, the NBA. There should be outrage. There should be indignant, righteous indignation. Righteous indignation against forces that are disrespecting this country. That's imperfect. But yet it's the best country on earth. That's why people drive here. That's why they're driven to come here. That's why my grandparents came here. Speak of the English. Speak of the English. America. And it wasn't easy for them, as it's not easy for any immigrant. And yet, look what they do. We can't have an Obama speak to the black community saying stop. We can't have an Obama tell the truth and say we don't need to defund the police. We need to develop our neighborhoods. We need to deal with the problems on the street. But they don't, because they know it separates you. They know that they can use them. The victimization is a Marxist propaganda tool. It's done on purpose. There are some of you out there that probably disagree with me. That's okay. But this is how I see it. I look for a future where it's bright, not where it's separate. It's happening in such a fast pace. It doesn't stop. Daily, there's new things coming along that are telling us, that are splitting us apart, that are. And the politicians don't know how to message it. They don't know how to message it. They don't know how to tell the American people, because the American people know. They're panderers. Expedient. If Miss Berry is so embarrassed by America, then there's no reason she needs to compete for our country. She should be removed from the Olympic team. That's right. George Foreman. George Foreman. I met him, you know. I met him the day I was sitting with Muhammad Ali. And who else was there? Larry Holmes. Because my cousin was one of the greatest boxing trainers. And he said, let's come back. Let's have another fight. And they said, that would be a great dream. And he went on and did it. God bless you. God bless America.
Are you tired of your favorite talk show sounding like this? What if you can hear your favorite talk shows in crystal clear, high-definition sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk